This is Jamaica5288, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you who have been with me on this journey, I thank you for staying with me. It's a little bit dark in here. I think I'm gonna have an electrician come in because I need to replace a light in the kitchen, and I think I'm gonna have him replace this one also because I want more light. So I have some curly kale here, and it needs to come out. So I'm gonna dump this out. Get this bucket here. Dump this out and try to capture some of the dirt in the bucket. I need to break it apart. Man, this stuff is sticky. Need to break it apart. And for those of you who are looking and saying, "Oh my God, that's her dining room table." It looks like a dining room table, but it's where I plant my plants. I don't eat here. So we have another dining room in here. And we don't eat there either. It's just for show. You ever remember a long time ago, you had your parents and they had that living room that you couldn't go in and sit down? Well, that's kind of like the dining room in the other room. No one uses it. So, well, I used it years ago. And it was when I had a whole bunch of people. I don't like a lot of people in my house, but we had a bunch of people in the house, and they were everywhere. They were everywhere. I come from a very private family. We didn't let a whole heap of people in our house. The only people who were welcome in our house was family and close friends that we knew, or my family knew, from Jamaica years before I was born. Otherwise, nope. No new friends. Like Drake's song, no new friends. That's how my family is. They're still like that. Very leery of strangers coming in your house. You know, you don't know what you're inviting in. The devil has to be invited in, remember that. Ah, man. I am getting more and more like them as the years go on. Remember when we were young, we would have parties and we would have a lot of strange people come over and would cook and have play cards. And the older you get, the more life lessons you learn. Okay, I separated it quite a bit, so I'm gonna put these in pots. The more life lessons you learn, and you learn that some people are not as nice as they seem, and you just have to be careful who you let in your house. That's all I'm gonna say. Some people come in and they're jealous. Other people come in with bad intentions, or they come in with their bad habits, or their bad spirits. And by bad spirits, let me tell you a story. This girl, I invited these 3 girls. They were all sisters over my house. And I was in stationed in Germany at the time. And I wasn't married at the time. And it was my boyfriend's at the time, his girlfriends, and he didn't have enough he had his own apartment, but he didn't have enough room in his house for them to stay, so they came to my apartment because I had a 2-bedroom. So some of them slept in there was 3 girls. Some of them slept in the queen bed because they were sisters. They all slept in the queen bed, and then one of them slept in the living room. Well, one of the sisters decided to invite some strange man to my apartment. So I thought he was just there, and I didn't know he was coming, or I would have told them they couldn't come, because I don't let strange men in my house, ever. I have to know you to let you in my house, or you have to be like doing some kind of work. You have to have a reason to be in my house. And so she brought this guy, and I was, I didn't want to, at the time I was young and I didn't know any better, and I didn't want to be unhospitable and tell, look, he can't stay here, but I should have. So the next morning came, and it was a German apartment. It was in Fetchinheim, which is the part of Rüsselsheim, which is about 20-30 minutes away from Frankfurt. So the next morning comes, and I had like a bathroom. German bathrooms are set up differently than the United bathrooms in the United States. The commode is in a separate room. So there's a commode and a sink, and then there's the tub, the shower, and another sink in 2 separate rooms. So first, this guy was a terrible man. First of all, I caught him in my refrigerator drinking out the milk container. That was the first thing that, I mean, I should have told him to leave then, right? But he was and my boyfriend, he was at his apartment. So he leaves these people at my house, and this joker was out of control. He seemed like a nice guy, but he didn't talk. So sometimes when people don't talk, that doesn't mean they're nice. That just means they don't want you to know what's on their mind. So I caught him in the refrigerator drinking out of my milk container. This guy was a sociopath. I'm not a doctor, but he was a malicious, terrible man. He looked like a nice man, but he wasn't. So then, after he did that dastardly deed, and I just had to throw the milk out because I do not drink. I don't even eat, I'm weird about that. My mom, when we were kids, we didn't eat after each other. If she ate something, she would not share it with us. She said that we had to get our own. She was just like that, and I was raised like that. Don't eat behind people. You don't know what kind of germs they have. So, anyway, so I catch him in there, right? I'm thinking about this, and I'm getting mad at right now. It's like I was there. I'm still there. So then he goes into the bathroom. He comes out of the bathroom with no clothes on. What was that about? Terrible man. Terrible man. And she, the girl who brought him there, was trying to shuffle him back into the bathroom. I was like, what do you think this is? What a terrible person. Had it been now, it would have been a totally different story. Homie don't play now, because I've been exposed to too many, I've been exposed, not too many, but I've been exposed to some bad people. And at that time, I didn't know that evil existed, but it does. And that was a sign of an evil person or an evil spirit that I let into my apartment. He was invited in. Well, I didn't stop him from coming in. I should have, and the guy I was dating, he should have never let that man in my house had he been a upstanding guy or a decent guy. He should have been the one to tell him, yo man, you can't stay at my girl's house. He didn't do that. We're all young then though, so I don't know. I didn't think about it until it was too late, until he did what he did. And then, I don't know, they left, thank God. And in Germany, most people don't have cars, so there was almost no way that he could find where my apartment was. It was just tucked away in a German village, and I had a landlord who was on the first floor, an old German man, and he didn't speak English, but he did not play. You could tell. Because he used to get mad at me because Germany, they've been separating their trash for years. We in the United States just started, and he used to get mad at me because I didn't separate my garbage. And he was like, you're going to get me fined, basically. He'd be, yelling at me in German, showing me, taking the container, like I take my milk container, and he would hold it to me and put it in the right, show me. He was like, drag me kind of, and put the container in the right bin. So he was going to get fined. I didn't realize that at the time. So to be, to comply with his demands, because I couldn't get it right, I just started taking my trash to Ron mine, putting it in the trash bin there, because I didn't want no trouble. It was a decent apartment, and I felt safe there because he was watching out for me. He and his wife, they was like, I felt safe. The only people out who were in that house besides me was his family. And he watched me like a hawk, like I was one of his kids. I was a kid though, because I was only like, I think I was 22 maybe. I was real young. He watched me like a hawk. So God will put people in your life to protect you, but sometimes the devil is also there sending people to bring you down. I don't know what that guy was about, but he was a bad dude. He was a bad dude. Or he did a bad thing. He was doing bad things. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what he thought. But whatever he thought, it wasn't that. I think he left. I think he left because my boyfriend came over that morning because he drove over early in the morning from his apartment and he shuffled them out of there. I think that's what happened. I don't remember how it ended, but I know they left peacefully. I was like, don't say it. I told him, no more of your friends come stay at my house. I don't care how much room. How many rooms did he have? I think my boyfriend only had a 1-bedroom, and that's why they were over my house. That's why they were there. Anyway, live and learn. You can't be nice to people. Don't invite strangers in your house unless you want whatever comes with that. Nah, that taught me a good lesson, especially men. Strange men, nope. Can't come here. Don't assume anything. Leave me at the door. Goodbye, sir. Good day. Can't come in my house. I got cameras all over the place anyway. And people watching cameras besides me. So you're on candid camera outside, inside, everywhere. I have cameras everywhere. It's so easy to get them right now. I see you before you see me. This one guy came to and I have I don't like solicitations or solicitors coming to the door, so I put a sign up. And this one guy, this is before I put the sign up. He came and he was like, I'm selling surveillance systems. And I told him, you're on camera right now, buddy. You're being watched. He kind of looked around, looking for the cameras. He didn't see them. You can hide cameras everywhere. And he left. And then there's those solicitors who come around during the holidays to check to see who's home and who's not. That's real shady. You come around on Thanksgiving and Christmas and start ringing people's doorbell. Why? Why would you do that when some people leave during that time? It's because they're trying to. And we don't have a problem here with burglary, but we also have a sign out in the front of in the entryway telling people there's no solicitations in this area. They don't care. They don't care. You drop their little people off. And then the people who get irritated because we don't want no strangers knocking on our door, and some of those people are they're out of the prison. Not all of them. Some of them are just kids, but they're. I've had that happen in multiple places I've lived. People from outside the neighborhood come in and try to sell you stuff or want you to challenge your religion or want you to become what they are, or tell you, God, you're going to hell. It's like, wow. I remember one time I was outside and my husband, he was, I think he was in the house doing something. The garage was open. They didn't know he was there. Or he was in the garage and they couldn't see him. And it's a group of men, with the black and white shirts. And they were like, ma'am, is your husband home? Now that is scary, right? And I'm like, why would you ask me if my husband's home? Why? That's scary. Asking me if he's home. So he came up behind the he was behind the vehicle. I think he was doing something. And he was like, may I help you? And the guy was like, yes, we're from blah 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 church and we're doing our this and that. And he was like, I'm not interested in your church. And then they got into a battle of wits, I guess, or a theologian battle, and they did not win. They did not win. He was well versed in the Bible, and I was like, oh God, they picked the wrong man to try to challenge, because you don't know who you're dealing with. Anyway, he told them to leave and not come back. Never darken our doorstep again. It was so hilarious, but they did not want to talk to me. They were like, where's your husband? And it was like a nasty way to say it. They didn't want to talk to me at all. And I was like, I don't want to talk to you either. You don't want to stop in front of our house. Why would you, why? Why would you even stop? You see me out here by myself, and that's a shady question to ask a woman out there by herself, where is your husband? It's none of your concern, sir. Where is my husband? There they are. Curly kale is done. So this is Jamaica 5288. Do not be afraid to put your seeds in a cup and have them all germinate in a cup, because I used a solo cup for this, right? Or a Dollar Tree imitation solo cup. I put all the seeds in here, but when you do it that way, they'll stay alive, but they will not get very big. You have to move them. You have to move them to a bigger plot, right? And then they'll take off. They'll take off. So I hope you learned something. I hope you're not afraid to put something in a cup, throw some seeds in a cup, and some of them you don't even have to cover with soil, like the callaloo and the mustard seeds. I didn't put any soil on top of them because the seeds were so tiny that it would be so hard for them to germinate above that soil. So what I did was I put the seeds on top of the soil, and then I wet the soil. I put the seeds on top, and then I sprayed it with a spritzing bottle. So you can germinate your seeds in a cup, and then when they get big enough, transfer them to a little seedling cup and let them grow from there. I think I'm gonna keep these in a windowsill because it's super hot out there. I'm gonna start planting. This is part of my fall crops. They're not going in the soil until maybe August. By then they'll be big. And they'll survive, they're fine. I'm good with plants. Thank God, God, I care about plants. Maybe that's why I'm good at it, because I like them. And things you like, you learn to be good at. So this is Jamaica 5288. I thank you for being with me. Be blessed. Remember to take care of yourself. Stay out of that heat because it is super hot out there. And hydrate yourself. Do not work hard out there in the sun. There's 3 types of heat injuries. There's heat exhaustion. That's when you're tired and you're a little dizzy and you're a little woozy. That's from being out in the sun and being dehydrated. Then there's heat cramps. That's when your muscles start cringing up and you start getting cramps, heat cramps. And then there's heat stroke, and that's when you end up in the hospital and you could possibly die. So heat exhaustion, first sign of heat exhaustion, when you feel a little woozy and you feel a little dizzy, get in a cool spot if you don't have air conditioning in your house, because I know in New York we do not have air conditioning. Get in a cool spot, take your shoes off, your socks off, get a tub or a pot of water, submerge your feet in the water, drink some water with a little bit of salt on it, and take a wet towel and put it on top of your head. If you're a woman, I'm sorry if you have a hairdo, or put it on the back of your neck. Put the wet towel on the back of your neck, because I know some of us, when we get our hair done, we don't want to get it wet. But you can cool down through your feet, and you can cool down with your head. And then if you have a fan, please have a fan. Just have the fan moving around, and you take that wet towel and you dab it on you, okay? Stay out of the heat if you can. Some people have to work outside, I understand that. But remember to take your breaks and to drink a little bit of salt, because salt makes you retain water. A little bit of salt water, and you sip on that and make sure. And if you get really hot, we say the 3 B's: buttons, boots, and belt. Open all your buttons, take your belt off, take your boots off, because I told you, heat escapes through your feet. So you want to loosen all your clothes. You don't want tight clothes anyway in the heat. That's the worst thing you could do. Loose clothes. Buttons, belt, and boots. That's an army thing, all right? They taught us that a long time ago. That's how I know about heat exhaustion, heat cramps, and heat stroke, those 3. May have changed, because it's been a long time since I learned that, but that is one of the life-saving things that they taught us about. And get under that water. And if you find somebody passed out and they already got heat cramps and they already have heat stroke, they're not gonna know who they are, because it's basically a stroke. So what you do is you freaking douse them with water. Hose them down if you find them out there wet. Don't give them a lot of water, because it's not gonna work at that point. But wet them down. If they have heat exhaustion, they could sip on a little bit of water, take them boots off, take that belt off, open everything up, and wet them down. Wet them down, okay? I hope that helps you guys. This is Jamaica 5288. I'm a retired Army person. So we were out there in the sun. We were out in the desert, in the dirt, suffering. It was fun, but it wasn't fun all the time. So this is Jamaica 5288. I thank you for being with me, and you all have a blessed day. Bye.